Good evening, everybody. This is the Golden Boot Podcast. I am your host, Cody Slavinsky, tonight. George, unfortunately, is not with us, joined by Vandy, Chris. And Chris, I'm going to let you welcome our returning guest with us tonight.
So it's an honor to have a coach, an actual college baseball coach, on the show with us tonight. Even if it's a junior college, he's still a head coach, right? Because all of the big boys get a lot of their players from the junior colleges. So without further ado, Coach Hamsley, glad to have you back on here tonight, sir.
Like I told you guys, it's like the hangover. We're back, baby. We're back. So it's good to be with you guys.
For sure. So let me ask you, what is a day in the life like for you coming up on the season starting in just a couple of weeks?
Well, I'll tell you, this year's been a lot different just because probably for me, I learned a couple things from my past few years. I kind of have a spirit of, like if someone gives you directions and says like, this is how you have to do it. Like if you want it done, you have to do it this way. And I have this thing in my mind that's like, no, you can only do it that way, but I'm special. I can do it a different way.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'm realizing it's just some stupidity on my part, but it's just learning. And usually every other season I've been at Roan, assistant, then into head coach, we've always played the first weekend we were allowed to play. So you're allowed to start playing games the last weekend of January. So for most, that's this Friday, Saturday. Okay. This year, when I was scheduling my games, I was going through everything I had to do. I scheduled, I put it in my notes in all caps in red meaning like death red is do not play opening weekend. Just because we always had to go on the road, which I think kind of, obviously out the get-go kind of puts you at a disadvantage, but also we were never really ready to go for a couple reasons. One is we didn't have an indoor facility, and you guys know how weather is in Tennessee this time of year. And then this year, uniquely enough, I was like, I'm not playing the first weekend. And thank goodness we are not, because I still haven't seen my team since December 5th. Like I haven't seen them. Unfortunately, we were supposed to start, last weekend ish, and then all that weather came in. So, I originally was like, all right, we're going to start and we're going to meet on this day. And then the weather forecast came out and it was like, all right, you know what? Just go ahead and get here, make sure you're here. And we're going to do this day. And then all the weather came in, and in East Tennessee, it was really, really bad in a lot of places. So school was closed all week, which means campus is closed, which means our facilities are closed. And because of liability and stuff like that, as much as I want to, do the run around and be like, hey, we're going to meet at this place, at this spot and do this. I can't do that in, maybe the same way that a four-year school, right? Because you would say you've got kids living in dorms, or, there's just some extra leeway probably there where you could still do some things and people could get some things done. But everybody's got their challenges. And at the end of the day, nobody cares about my challenges when I lose games. It's not going to be like, well, nobody cares. So you got to kind of find your way. So this year, it's been crazy busy, but not in the way that I expected it to be, because I've still got all these things on my plate. But the most stressful part is I got to get my team ready to play, not this weekend, but the next weekend. And I haven't seen them. Tomorrow's our first official day. It's supposed to be last week, but now it is tomorrow. So we're gonna start at 10 a.m. Have a first meeting, and then really go all through the day, kind of like a 2-a-days type deal, like they do in football. So
yeah. Well, that has me with a little bit of a follow up. So with you not seeing your guys since December, do you at least have a mindset of your starting lineup yet?
I do. You always have an idea of kind of, because you get to play a fall season at junior college too, which is helpful. You get to play all these games, and you don't want to forget that, but you also kind of have a thing where you tell them after fall ball, hey, this is where you stand. This is where I see you. This is kind of like me ranking you out right now. And some of them like what they hear, some of them don't, but you got to tell them the truth because you're just setting, everybody up for failure when you don't do that. And then, you tell them this is how you can get better. And then you go through this winter training program where we do a lot of things like we get in the cage and we fine tune some stuff and really, kind of put in our philosophy on hitting and where we're trying to do damage and hunt and do some things there. And then, same thing for pitchers and we're, getting in the weight room and doing all these things. And a lot of times you'll have where, one or two guys that maybe you didn't have in the equation have now kind of gotten themselves on the equation. Another thing you have to think about, they go through a fall semester and you always have guys that they just don't do what they're supposed to do in the classroom. No matter how much study hall you may do or whatever the case may be, they just don't do what they're supposed to do. So then, you have spots that open up just because someone else kind of dropped out and, couldn't do it anymore. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Guys, everybody's going through stuff and either they just didn't get it done or, it just wasn't meant to be, but you usually have situations there. So yes, I have an idea. But also when they get back, you want to know what you have, but also you got to play your hot hand, there's going to be a guy that comes back that just looks bad. Like just, you're like, what happened? And then when they all left for break, I told them, I was like, if you come back and you are the exact same player, like exactly what I have in my mind, exactly what our plans are, that's a good thing. Like if you come back and you're better, that's the goal. Obviously, that's what we want. Mm-hmm. You just can't come back worse. Because if you come back worse, somebody will go ahead of you. And then you're going to be wondering, where did my reps go? Where did all those things coaches said to me about me being in this spot? Well, you were in that spot. And then when we got back, you're not in that spot anymore because, and so you do have to do that as well. You got to play your hot hand. But yeah, I kind of have an idea, kind of going in if our first weekend, we're playing 4 games. So it's really nice. You want your guys to play hard, play fundamentally sound baseball, and you're playing to win. But it's also a building block. Like I want my team to just focus on one day at a time. Let's bring it today. Let's figure out where we can grow, where we can get better. But also in my managerial mind, I need my team to be going this way as the season goes on. Right. And in past years, although I've learned a lot and it's maybe changed some things, in past years we played really tough schedules. Maybe the teams we had didn't have a season like we wanted to, but I just kind of kept challenging them to grow and continue to we're going to be playing our best baseball at the end. And it's translated to, getting to the conference tournament and playing better than any team at Run has in a while and better than a lot of people expected. So that part's great. This year's goals are more focused on we want to be a lot better from start to finish. Obviously, at the end of the day, that comes down to your record. But also, I want us to do that, but also have that at the end where we're still peaking, where we're still going upwards. Because, if I go – how would I put it? If I go, talk to my team, tomorrow and we go on this stretch of, I don't know, we go 56-0, right? Like just an amazing season, not realistic, but I'm just using that as an example. And then we're 2-0 in our conference tournament.
Oh yeah.
Whereas at the same time, we had really, really rough seasons, but then we did really, overachieved at the tournament. So really trying to kind of get that middle ground. And I feel like I have an idea in my mind of the guys that will start us out, but also I know there's going to be some wild cards, and that's exciting, because I feel like I have a very mature group. I feel like they care a ton, which leads me to believe that guys went home and worked really hard over break. So.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of returners from last year's team?
I didn't. Couple reasons for that. I had a lot that were ready to move on. I had some that I asked to move on. I had some that I told I wasn't, bringing them back, and some of it was mutual. Some of it was just my decision. But there's a lot of things that go with that. I think, this year's team, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be better. I wanted to kind of collectively look for a certain, person, and that person, like your people make a place, right? It's like a company, and they have to be willing to go through, something different that we've done. Because I really, have gotten to the point where with our indoor facility now, I can get players who, like, there's no plan B. Like, they are here to continue to play baseball. They don't have a second option. Like, this is what they're here to do. So they're all in. Their care level's there. Whereas before, I would say our talent levels improved. And whereas I didn't maybe necessarily have that because when I first got to Roan, there was a field and there was a old barn in the back that had some cages in it. Like I didn't have anything necessarily to recruit to get players to want to come play at Roan State. So it's definitely been like a building thing, like an upward trajectory there. And I would say my growth as a coach has been such a massive piece of that. And my message to the guys this year with that team that were like, I have, I think maybe 7 guys in my program, and I have 48 dudes overall that are with us. So 7 guys in the program that are from last year's squad. So it's really a completely new team made up of a lot of different places. I'll just kind of, go around and spin it. So, behind the dish, I've got a kid named Tim Gordon. He graduated in 2020, I believe, got stuck in that COVID stuff where it was just wild times. He was in California. He went to Chino High School, and he got out and went to work. Like, he just started working, and he was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to work right now. And he got very much take it for granted of like, oh my gosh, like, no, like I want to go to school and I want to chase, playing baseball. And his parents moved to Cookeville. He stayed in California. Then he moved up here. And so last spring, he just kind of called me and he asked to come try out. I liked him enough, brought him on, and he's very much going to be probably the top guy catching. He's a guy that's a catch and throw guy. So like, he catches it, you're stealing, or even if you're not stealing, he'll back pick you. Like, he will get the ball out and it will be fast. And it's just, that's what he does. He's a catch and throw guy. Pretty good receiver, great blocker, and just manages the game well. So, and with him, like I told you a story, he's older. So he's got like a year of age, so, he's going to be back there and do big things for us. I have a red shirt guy named Ryan Winters, who's, Tim's like a very broad, like athletic, stocky guy. Ryan Winters is very like tight, small, like umpires behind you. He's going to be able to see the ball for sure. So he's kind of a more smaller athletic type, swings it real well. Wyatt Collins is a transfer catcher that we got from Chat State, and they won the TCCA last year. And he decided to transfer over to Roan, and he mashes. He hit a home run at our fall JUCO showcase that we have at MTSU every year. And it was a big deal because it was off, a kid from last year that really won, helped win, but, on the bump was a big reason Chat State was able to win the conference tournament last year for them. So excited about him. Zach Wilson's a kid from Wilson Central who went to BC post-grad. So right out of high school, he went and took classes at Pellissippi, which is a community college in Knoxville, went to a post-grad academy, Brett Carroll Athletics, BC post-grad. Brett Carroll is an awesome dude who
don't y'all?
Yeah, played at MTSU, played in the league, or played professionally a little bit. Awesome guy. So he went there, and I brought him on. Mitch Victor's a freshman that's going to be back there helping us a little bit. That's from Gallatin High School, left-handed hitter. John Larea is a kid who went to Baylor School in Chattanooga, transferred to Murray State. Not transfer, but went to Murray State out of high school. And he's now here with us, and he's getting his feet wet, and so got a lot of guys back there that are gonna really help us out, and that's somewhere you want to have a lot of depth. You really have to have a lot of depth,
sure,
and you want different types of guys for different roles because you're always gonna have everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses, right? So you got your your guy who's going to be a really, really good defensive guy, like priorities defense. You got the other guy who, obviously priority still defense. Maybe he swings it a little bit better. You've got a guy that maybe profiles and catches a couple guys on your staff really, really well, and that guy gets an opportunity because of that. So that's an exciting piece. I know I went off on a deep dive for you there, but obviously talk about
I love every bit of it.
So,
that's all right.
That catcher you got coming in that worked for a couple of years or whatever. What's his bat like? Is he does he show any signs of, hey, I hadn't played in a bit, or is he gung ho? He's ready.
Yes, I would say that's a thing. He's got pop. He's powerful, but he's a very physical kid. So that physicality, sometimes he gets a little tight. I would say. His biggest thing will be kind of as the season goes on. I think he's going to continue to get better because he's had to catch up on live ABs and at bats and things like that. And the same thing happens for, a lot of times when you have transfers, I've got, two MTSU transfers, a Murray State transfer, and those guys, a UT Martin guy that's coming back for his second year, and I even saw this last year with him. He was an everyday guy for us as a position player last year, and he came in at break from UT Martin. It really took him all year to kind of catch up with the ABs. He just hadn't gotten those same reps of quality ABs, seeing pitching to where he was, still very talented, still made it in our lineup, but he was playing catch up over all the guys in junior college that have been seeing that. Whereas before he was at the bottom of the totem pole at a bigger school, and he kind of just got left. So obviously he was like, I want to go somewhere I can play. So it's a catch up thing. And Tim is a guy that, just like I said, there's some catch up there, and he probably, hadn't swung it to this stage like he wanted to, but he's only going to keep getting better because the more he really, when you look at his stats and what he's done playing, he played summer ball last summer. That was the first time he got in any live ABs for, forever, in a game setting. So that'll continue to kind of tack on for him. And also for him, it's really a mindset thing. If he could have a couple different mindsets, he can be the guy who's you know what, I can hit. I've never been able to hit. I don't want, that's not me, but I am the best defensive catcher that will step on the field any given day. And that's my tool. I'm going to dominate that. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to do all this, too much time focusing on the hitting piece. I'm just going to get in there and compete. That could be a mindset. Also, kind of the identity of the player he wants to be does he want to be kind of like a ball player type offensive player that's going to be really scrappy, that, is maybe more situational, or is he going to fall into a role that's maybe I'm going to be more of a bomber type hitter who I might swing and miss a lot, but every time I swing, I'm going to be loose. And it's probably those guys you envision, high leg kick, I'm going to put a hack on whatever pitch comes. I may miss, but if I hit it, so it's kind of one of
going 100 miles.
It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, they're always behind me because there's no way to get those reps really unless you're taking live ABs.
Sure.
How do we train for that? I mean, a lot of people in baseball will tell you now you have to wear out a pitching machine, so that a lot of places now are junior hack attacks, ATEX, and you're feeding all these different balls that are going to challenge your hitters, and you really want to make it tougher than the game, so the game seems slowed down. So you have those guys that really get a challenge through doing that. And I think every guy does that. But you also have to vary some things as well. Like some guys, to get their body on time, like no matter how much you want to do that, they really just need, an extended, like far back underhand toss just to work through everything. I think really you just kind of have to vary it based on the hitter. Some guys it's, they need really that like methodical like build up. And so slowing it down is better for them. But 95% of them, like the slowing down guy, like he's the guy that you already know has fast hands. Like you can tell his hands are fast. They're going to get there. He's not weak getting his barrel through the zone, that's a tell if you ever need to do that with a kid. But like pitching machine and rearing it up there is really what 90% of them need. And like, there's so many smart coaches out here now, way smarter than me, that have done all the work to, when you put the pitching machine at this distance and put it on this setting, you are simulating this. So it's all out there for you now as a coach if you go find it. And I sell it to my guys like, I've just spent so many hours and I figured out if we put it here and here, this is what it's going to give you. And I always look at them. I'm like, I didn't do that. Some other guy did, I always joke with them. I'm like, we're not trying to reinvent baseball. Like I believe in traditional baseball, like completely. And that's kind of what the identity of the team and what we're trying to do is like, regardless of talent, like I really, really just want a group that is scrappy, that's gritty, that plays hard, that like, if you're going to make like fundamental baseball has got to be such a priority for us. And then, we have a certain offensive mentality that it's been evolving, every year for me. But, I really think we have a good base now of guys that understand what we want to do. And that's been a building process too. So, because you can't do anything you want to do as a coach unless your guys are willing to invest. And I think I just got tired of being so patient to the point of like, well, all right, if somebody's not going to invest, I'm just going to get rid of them, because it's my job. It's my life. Like I want to help you, but you have to get to here. Here's the standard. If you get there, I'm committed. We'll work on it. If not, I'm not going to waste my time.
I respect that a lot.
So looking at some of your players from last year, all the rage is with two-way players.
Yeah,
you got Otani, you got Kaggs at Florida. LSU had a guy last year that could have played both ways. He ended up pitching and not going both ways, but he could have. You had a guy last year that was a two-way player.
Yeah.
You probably know who I'm talking about, Mr. Miles Denton. Is he back this year, and what are you looking for from him?
Miles was he actually was not with me last year. He was at Walter State in Morristown, which is, kind of traditionally been the junior college powerhouse in Tennessee. They do a great job. Love Coach Shelton, my assistant. Loves Coach Korn, his assistant. He played for him when he was at Columbia State. He's now at Walters. So we definitely look up to them because those are two guys that've been doing it a long time and they've done a great job. And me and my assistant over here, we're like the young guns, we're doing everything that's, it's trial and error, learning and kind of getting started, on what we're doing. So, but Miles was at Walters. I think he just kind of saw where maybe the opportunities or things, for him would be a better fit somewhere else. Very blessed that he ended up coming to Roan and started this fall. And he's a two-way guy. Like he'll play third base or shortstop. And then he's a guy that will come in to close games. So, and he's the type of guy that you want out there because he's, some people and players, like, they just have something different with, like, competing. There's just like this level of competitiveness that's like, you have people that get in that zone and it's
He's
like,
a psycho.
yeah, it's like every time, and like he's very controlled, but it's just like every time, like the inside of his mind is probably just like, he's got that +1. Like, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to compete, and this is what's going to happen. And so he's kind of the type of guy you want in your closer role, or at least one of those guys for us, because you're not like, he's not going to give you freebies. So I don't have to worry about a large amount of base on balls, hit by pitch, things like that. Like,
that's nice.
Like he's going to make you put it in play. So like one thing that ironically kept happening to him this fall is he had a couple times where he just closed games like we knew he was going to do. It's like, heck yeah, that's exactly what I expected. I wasn't surprised. Like, that's why I'm putting you there. And then we had some other ones where he went in there, he did what he was supposed to do, but we made errors at the end of the game. And, like, we went and played at Reinhardt University. It's an NAI school in Waukegan, Georgia. I believe it's the town it's in. We played the first game against them, and we were winning by 1 or 2 runs. I don't remember now, but put him into close. And basically got a ground ball to the shortstop, and we're playing at Reinhardt. This dude's trying to get recruited, and it was a great teaching moment for us. I mean, like, my assistant got to get in on this, but so my guy at shortstop fielded it, and he did like an extra shuffle because he really wanted to let it eat across the infield, right? Because he's trying to get recruited. Like, we're getting to play at this nice school. And my first baseman, that wasn't my normal first baseman, but regardless, goes up, has to jump to catch it, comes off the bag. A bad throw by the shortstop. Next guy up to bat hits a walk-off home run. So, one of those things where it was great for us because teaching of, like, we're trying to win the game, like, winning succeeds, like, all of that, but overall, like, yeah, Miles is awesome. I love Miles, and he's gonna do a lot of things to help us this year, and I'm excited to get him into it because this will be his first spring to really be an everyday, have the opportunity to be an everyday guy. So that's going to be awesome. So, but yeah, I'm sure you do. I mean, we could chalk it up about the Ravenwoods, the Independents, the Centennials, and all those other schools you're around up there. So,
right.
So I actually get to watch you guys play live this year.
Ooh,
yes, I'm excited. Gadsden State.
Oh, that's going to be great. Yeah, I'll have to give you a big dab you up, hug, the whole deal. So, but yeah, that's going to be a fun one. They brought back baseball this year, so stoked to be going down there. That'll be our shoot. Like, it'll be a blink of an eye. In my mind, like, we'll be down there before I can even realize it. Like, it'll be. That's our 3rd weekend of the season.
I think it is, yeah.
But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm excited to go down there. Selfishly for me, I mean, that's one of the closer non-conference JUCOs for us to play. So sure. I'm glad he wants us to come down, and I'm sure he wants us to come down because he saw our record last year, and he's probably like, oh, yeah, I need these guys to come play me so my team can start out on this, because, like, you really do. Like, you set the tone early, and
right.
peaking at the end. But, like, for us, just an example is, like, we've gone and played on the road my 4 seasons at Rome, assistant, and then going into COVID, and then head coach. Like, it's very much like we've gone on the road to start the year every single year, and we come back from our opening weekend every time, and we're 0-4 or 0-3 or 0 whatever. So it's really, really hard to do that, and then you're trying to build your season up and kind of get your guys going. It's hard to set your tone when you start out like that.
Right.
And So, I mean, I definitely for him, I'm stoked for us to go down there because I like playing somebody closer, and I think it'll be a good time to go play. I've heard good things about Coach Lewis, and that'll be fun. It'll be a good weekend.
For sure.
I did see something on Twitter earlier today, and it came from a high school coach, and I wanted to pick your brain about it a little bit. This coach said he's hearing from other high school coaches that some travel ball coaches are telling kids not to play high school baseball. Have you heard any of that, and what is your take?
I mean, I haven't heard that like personally to myself, because I think if I heard that, I would tell that coach to go kick rocks. Like for me, like I'm such a big proponent. Like you can see everything on social. Like I could recruit from my cell phone at my house right now, but I am very adamant about going out to watch kids, and I also am like really adamant about it not being in summer ball only. Like I have to go watch that kid play in high school, because the competitive level is different, the commitment level is different, the intensity is different, the environment's different. Like there's so much more. SEC, right? It just means more. Well, it does. Like everything, like all the things that you're required to do to be a part of a successful program, play for a challenging coach, and do all these things, like those are really valuable boxes for us to check, or at least for me. So, I have programs that I know are ran well that I'm going to those honey holes every year, because those are the type of guys I want in my program. Whereas summer ball, like, yeah, obviously I still watch it, but like, I can't really go get a kid unless I've talked to his high school coach, or I've seen him play in a high school setting, or I'm very blessed to have a lot of high school coaches I trust and think the world of, that have seen a lot more baseball than I have, that I can call and be like, hey, you seen this kid play? And that's always, I think, the biggest credit you can have is, if I like called you and I was like, it's like, Chris, like I've been thinking about, looking into some Twitter accounts to follow or whatever. And, if you heard of this guy named GBP Tiger King, and if you were like, nah, I haven't seen him, or nah, it just doesn't ring a bell. Well, that's one thing, But like if a coach remembers you and you're not on his team, like you made an impact. I always think that's like something that for me, at least when I kind of like trick coach, I don't do it like maliciously, but if I ask them like, hey, like, do you think so-and-so has got anybody over at this school? Is this head coach, or you remember seeing anybody? And, the coaches I trust are always like, yeah, really like that kid. Or sometimes, like I'll get somebody call me like, coach, like you have to go get this kid. Like he's a no-brainer. You have to go get him. I call like a school that plays that school that he's at multiple times a year and ask the coach, hey, tell me about this kid. Do you remember this kid from so-and-so? And he's like, I don't think so, coach. Never. I don't remember him. So now the kid that someone else has told me is a no-doubter has not been remembered by a coach that I trust. Then I probably got to do some extra research on this kid,
Right.
Sure.
And it goes to like the quality of student athlete that we're trying to get to. I've told you guys last time the bar has raised a ton of the quality of talent that I can now bring to Roan. One is because we have an indoor facility that now allows us to say like, hey, we have this place to train. Nobody else has really got anything like this. Well, now I would say, like, I think Dyersburg State's got one. I know Walters is now working on one. I mean, there's a lot of big pieces there, but it's been something for us to be like, hey, this is super valuable. And you came here to go to school and play baseball. Well, you wouldn't be at Roan State visiting right now if baseball wasn't in the equation. So this is what we have for you. And the expectation is I'm going to make sure I get you into all classes that are going to transfer to a 4-year school so you can continue on your academic journey, but also that you can move on to play baseball. And when you're not doing academics here, we have this facility that's open for you from 8 a.m. to 10, 11 p.m. at night, for you to use and for you to train. What else? All I've got to do is now put a successful product on the field, because if I do that and I have guys moving on to go play at other schools, then it's like, look, like, you don't want to come here. Okay, that's fine. But this is what you're missing out on. And I always do this too. Like, I've really changed my mindset about recruiting. When I first started at Roan, I used to find these kids that I liked, and I would just not beg them, but essentially beg them, blow them up like, really need you here, like this, all this. I don't do that anymore. I bring them on campus and I say to them, why do I need you? Like, what is so special about you that I should want you here? And I don't do, like, obviously I get them
make them sell themselves.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I want you to visit, and I'm bringing them on campus for a reason. I've done my research, but like, I also know that, like, I see what we're kind of building here and where we're going. And like, if you come here, we will make you successful if you can continue through our program, and I can't always say that. I couldn't always say that, but I can say that now. I'm confident in that. And so if you want to be here, it's more like, why do we need you? What makes you? So it's definitely increased a lot of the talent level, I think, of the guys I'm looking for, the guys I'm able to get, because I'm not just going to chase a player around. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to look him in the eyes. If I like him before he leaves, I'm going to say, like, I want to coach you and I want you here. And it would be an honor to coach you. You stay in touch and let me know. I may check in. I'll give that kid a phone call, one time, probably like 2 weeks after he visited. And then I'm going to say, hey, like, good luck. Like, I'm not going to hamper you. I'm not going to harp you. Like, go do your thing. If you make a decision, you call me, and I'll tell you if I have to do something different with the scholarship money, which sometimes kids get scholarships, sometimes they don't, because Tennessee, you get teen, hope, and promise. So I have some guys that, maybe I offer a little bit on top of that. But a lot of my money goes towards out-of-state kids, because you got to pay tuition. And the difference is very large. If you're an in-state student, even if you don't qualify for teen, hope, and promise, you're getting, it's probably for the year costing you like $5,000, maybe just over $5,000 for tuition. If you're an out-of-state student, it's like $14,000. So I have to give them scholarship if they're going to come here. There's no way around it. So,
do you ever have you ever thought about having like a volunteer to like scout kids for you out of state?
Yes. We call those bird dogs. So, it's like, I'll have contacts and people connected that I'll be like, hey, you're going to be here and this team's playing tonight. Let me know what you think of this guy. And there is some, and really it just goes with building relationships. Like, there's some guys I have in Georgia and Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, that's just like a couple guys that, if I'm interested in a guy, that's the guy I call. Obviously my network is extremely large in Tennessee and it continues to grow, but that goes the same thing for just like the Southeast in general. But yeah, you need sets of eyes, and you need eyes that you trust,
Sure.
It's well, tell me what you guys are excited about college baseball or what's going on in the sports world that you guys want to chatter about.
Sure. Well, to go on about the volunteer, I happen to know a guy in Central Alabama that's actually worked in scouting before. You should hit him up. It's me. I've done it before. So I literally live in the central point where all the big high schools in Alabama are within like a 30-minute drive of me.
Okay.
So I got you if you ever need some.
Yes, I like that.
I live. Have you heard of Thompson High School in Alabaster, the big football powerhouse?
I have, yeah.
All right, I live like 5 minutes from there.
Okay.
So I got a little bit of advantage on my side.
Yeah, you're in a good spot there.
I am.
Shoot, north. I guess it's north. Northeast Alabama is growing like crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Huntsville area in general.
Oh yeah.
Birmingham's a great city.
It is.
We went to we went over and played a couple years ago at Bevel State.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of out there, but you know how Alabama is. You're either like way out there, or you got some really cool cities. It's same in Tennessee. So
Absolutely.
that's really cool, man.
So,
very cool.
We actually have a friend of the show. His name is Jody Robinson. He's a former College World Series winning assistant coach.
Yeah.
And he has popped a question out for you. It's a 2-part question.
Okay.
If you haven't practiced yet, how long before your pitching is game ready? And did you give them winter throwing schedules so that they could kind of be ready?
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's what, like, this whole time I've been off that's what I've been worried about this whole time.
Mhm.
It's like, you send these kids, he'll tell you the scariest time of year is when your kids go home for break, because you have no control over them. You don't know what you're doing, and you're trusting them, an 18 to 21-year-old, to do what they're supposed to do. So, yes, you send them home with a plan. So, kind of like a guided throwing plan, and every guy is kind of somewhere different in that plan, but you have to give them an idea of a date to be ready to throw live. So the date that I gave all my guys for throwing live was January 15th. I need them to be able to throw live by January 15th.
Sure.
I gave them a throwing schedule that, depending on where they're at, to build up towards that. What's really hard is like throwing right now is such an epidemic. There's more Tommy John surgeries on myself, but there's more Tommy John surgeries going around because players are throwing year round. And the reason they're throwing year round is because they're playing, summer ball and I mean, there's winter ball. And then they're like, well, I can't stop throwing because I've got to I'm trying to get a college scholarship, or I'm trying to play, and I can't stop. And so they throw before they're actually ready to throw, because they're usually not strong enough, or they haven't conditioned their arm enough. Because what so many people don't realize is, if you take 2 weeks off from throwing, then at minimum, you don't need to get back on a mound to throw live for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If you're doing things the right way, if you're taking 2 full weeks off, you wouldn't get back on a mound to throw for at least 6 weeks. But what kid in the generation, very small numbers of kids in our, the world we live in now, they want everything fast, easy, no discipline. Okay. Anything that happen in life takes a long time.
Yep.
It's probably pretty hard, and you're going to have to be disciplined. Right. So and even the patience with that, to build up your arm. So yeah, the most terrifying thing for me is tomorrow, we're going to get there, and I'm going to get to see these guys throw, and we'll go through, some of our build up, some functional movement stuff that will kind of give me some markers, but I'm going to get to see these guys and talk to them even more so about what have you done? What have you been doing? And there may be some guys that it's probably not a nice conversation. It may be very, very harshly what are you doing, and why have you wasted your time and mine? You're not playing for at least another month because we got to get your arm ready, and that's what we're doing. I don't want to hear anything else about it, right? But yeah, for Jody's question, it's yes, they all have a throwing program, mostly based off of kind of the building phase, and then getting them onto the mound, and you're just hopeful they do them. And I am, I guess terrified is a good word for tomorrow, but also I trust my guys. I'm very hopeful. They have a really high care level. They're really mature. So I'm hoping they come back tomorrow and they're, all throwing harder and sharper than they did when they left. That'd be nice. But
Yeah,
it's a great question. I hate it because you made me think about something I've honestly been thinking about way too much lately, but I appreciate it. It's a good question.
Are you ready to be mean tomorrow?
Oh, not being mean, but just
being honest.
Making sure you're holding that standard. I think that's been the hardest part for me, anyways, as a young coach is kind of finding kind of where I want it to be as far as managing and kind of putting all that stuff in place. But I think my guys get it, when they come back tomorrow, they're on Yankee law. So what that means is face has got to be clean cut. Hair's got to be behind the ears. So like for me, before I go to bed tonight or when I get up in the morning, like I'll cut any shadow I have here. And so we do that. And I have guys text me. Guys text me last week and they're like, "Hey coach, about Yankee law, does that mean we can no longer have a mustache, or can we not have a mustache either?" And I'm like, "No, you have to be, like a 1 or lower," because I said, the Yankees used to be really good. And I said, they started sucking whenever they made adjustments to the Yankee law and they started letting them have mustaches and stuff. So I said, we're going to make sure we do Yankee law. They know that we have kind of like some no cussing rules in place. So it's not the Pat McAfee show where adults, we're adults and we can talk a certain way. And I hear you, but like we have a mindset of, no B's, no D's, no P's, no MFs, none of that stuff. And if you do it, you got to do push-ups right there, push-ups. And it's fun because the guys know that now. So you don't even have to say something. If you hear a guy say something, you're like, "Hey, push-ups, get them in there," And then obviously, I mean, it's in a realm. Like whenever you get to be competing, like when I get them on the field, so different at a junior college game. There's like no one there compared to like an SEC game. Like the things that you don't hear because you're at a massive stadium or things that you can't hear is probably different. But, like when they're in that competitive setting and they're competing, I want them to play hard. I want us to play fair and I want us to play to win. And there's some competitive aspects to that, but like that's where there's a, kind of a correlation in the game in baseball. Like I'm going to protect my guys. Especially, in that setting. But usually there's a lot of times where, a guy may do like a mine or something, and I have to go back and be like, "Hey, this is how maybe you should have thought about responding to that." Or they're just ultra competitive, and you got to let them be competitive in that setting because you really want them in this like life or death mindset of winning and losing because it is to us like when we're in that setting, but also, it's like you're in a realm, like a safe competitive space, and it's like they're protected in that space. So I want to make sure they know that from me, but also it's just like, you never know what's going to happen in the middle of the game, but you got to discipline them. You got to hold a high standard.
Right.
And if you do those things, I think that's something we're kind of building our identity in is like, I want that to be a part of our program and be such a big piece because early in my coaching career, I've seen it on the other end and I know how much I hated it and there was no one to blame for that but myself. So now I'm trying to get to the other side of that. And this team really here has helped me do that. So I put it in like for them all the time. I tell them like, we're doing this together. Like we're growing together. And they know I'm going to tell them if I don't like something, and hold them to that. But yeah, it's been really nice just kind of grow with this team. And hopefully tomorrow I don't have to lose my mind on day one. But I guess back to your question, Cody, is like, you really never know. You don't. Yep. Hopefully I don't have to lose my mind and be super mean tomorrow, but you just never know.
You ready to do push-ups though?
Yes, definitely. We'll wear out some push-ups tomorrow. I guarantee you. That's my joking to them tomorrow. That'll be like the half joke, half serious. Is like you've gone home and you spent all this time being a common, average, basic human, and now I got to get you back in here and I got to get all that common average stuff out. I got to teach how to be a winner again. And so we got to do this. And so, tell them all the time. I'm like, this is our book. We have to write this chapter. I don't want to write this chapter, but we have to write it. Usually that comes with some kind of punishment we have to do. I'm like, I don't want if we didn't have to write this chapter, I wouldn't. I wish we didn't have to, but we have to, because if we don't, we're going to pay at the end of the season, and I'd rather pay now than pay later. So,
see, I listen to the 2% guys, Keanu Reeves that played at Vanderbilt and Ro Coleman. Yeah. I hear him talk about Tim Corbin at one point got so angry that he had the pitching machine in the back of a pickup.
Yeah.
He turned it up as fast as it would go.
Yeah.
And started eating yogurt with his fingers and wiping it on the ball as he was putting it in there. And he was pitching yogurt balls at these guys as high as it would go. We want to interview some of your players at the end of the year talking about Coach Ham throwing yogurt balls at us. Can you get some stories like that?
Be that hot on them. And I mean, I'll tell you, that'll be at a stem. I'll tell you, there's a loss. There's losses that come in there that make you so frustrated that you're like, I'm miserable. And if I'm miserable, you have no choice but to be miserable with me.
Right.
And this is what we're going to do to make me be less miserable. and so I get the point. And I think the point of that probably is like winning matters. Like it matters so much to him that he was so frustrated that the next opportunity he got, he, turned the pitching machine up and said, enjoy,
Yep.
So that's a good story, though. That's a good story. That's a passionate coach right there.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of passion, I know you went to Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association meeting.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No, the weather got me.
Okay.
I did not. I just didn't feel. It was kind of just weighing on my heart, just like a Jesus thing. Like I just felt like I didn't need to go and I didn't need to be there, which stinks because I love going. Because it's just such a brotherhood of coaches, and you get to hear a lot of really good info kind of taking you into season. Like the first night you had Tony Vitello and Dave Serrano speaking. And so like the type of information and knowledge you're getting, is really, really good. The next day, Matt Reiser and Ford Pemberton, who head coach and assistant at University of Memphis, they're new. Just got there this year. So like they spoke, plus a lot of high school coaches that I really respect, and think a lot of Rob Stacy at Clinton High School. He spoke about strength and conditioning. So like hated to miss it. It was really good. Butch Chaffin from Cookville High School, he got put in the TBCA Hall of Fame at the event. Tom Griffin, Coach Griff from Carson Newman, he got put in the Hall of Fame. So amazing event that I didn't get to be there for, but I just wasn't meant to.
When you do go to that and you run into guys like Coach Lamb, Coach Jason Burleson, Coach Weathers from Loretto, and all of these guys from this central Tennessee area that have these programs that they've built. How do you tell us some of the stuff you picked their brains on?
And that's what I do. I'm catching up. We get into like some hot stoves, and you're always asking, you're always trying to learn and teach me something and just see what you can kind of put out there and pick that you may like. And that's what we do. We have a lot of hot stoves off hitting more than anything else, but definitely some good pitching stuff out there. And it's just, I'm telling you guys, I need to give you guys a heads up next year in time, some way to organize the way, like I can see the perfect place in my mind right now, like a table at this place at the hotel that you guys would set up and just like little 5-minute snippets. Like you guys would have so many coaches in and out of there. And I just think it'd be really cool. So just keep that on your radar. But Coach Lamb, phenomenal. Both Coach Lambs. I mean, I just got from Spring Hill High School, I just got a commitment from kids come to play for me next year, Ethan Swashy. So really excited about him. His last name is spelled Swoish. So
wow.
I asked their coach, I was like, I really like this kid, would like to know how to pronounce his name. Asked him to, and they're like, we just say Swashy. So I'm sticking with it.
I like it.
Yeah, he's coming to play, and that's a kid from y'all's area. The coach that I got to play for and then coach under at Pope John Paul II, Michael Brown, he's now the head baseball coach at Brentwood Academy. This will be his first year. But yeah, gosh, just so many legendary and smart and just great men, right, especially in that area that are coaches. And yeah, I chalk it up. I try to learn as much as I can because I guarantee you those guys have forgotten more baseball than I know. Like that's how good they are. So yeah, that's good. It's good stuff.
Really. Well, Coach, man, we appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Very excited for the season.
Yes.
It was awesome. I mean, you guys give me an opportunity to chat and talk about the game, that obviously I love. That's blessed me so much. And then you guys are not the most terrible guys to hang out with for an hour or so, So
we try. I will be coming to watch you play this year, though.
Yeah, please do, and don't
State.
Don't hesitate to give me a shout. There's nothing that I'm so locked in that I can't give you a head nod or give you a little side hug. So definitely give me a shout.
Absolutely. And
don't hesitate to text me. I mean, I'm in it too. I love what you guys do because there's nothing better than sports. So anything under the sun, you chat me up on it. And if you guys need anything this spring, y'all let me know. Okay.
Absolutely, man. Well, we sure appreciate it.
So real quick,
yeah,
you wanted to talk other sports. We got 2 NFL coaching hires. Brian Callahan to the Titans, and College Football Dogs has been reporting for 3 weeks now. Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers.
Man,
give me your thoughts.
Is Callahan going to bring Joe Burrow with him, or
right?
I don't know.
I don't know. He might get T. Higgins to come over with him. I think he's a free agent. But, I think that's a phenomenal hire. I mean, if you can score like 30, 35 plus points with the Broyles guy or whoever it was that was the QB when Burrow was out, like multiple times, like you're good. Like dudes, that's a really good hire for the Titans. I hate it because I really love Mike Vrabel. Anyways, but regardless, like that dude's going to get to coach whenever he's ready to again. But Brian Callahan, phenomenal hire just from the onset. And I think with him, like it's all going to be about like, can you make Will Levis the dude? Like if you can, like we're going to be really good. If not, then we're going to lose to CJ Shroud, Anthony Richardson, and potentially Trevor Lawrence for a long time,
Yep.
But I think
you got to find out if he's the dude quick, and if he's not, get somebody in here.
Yeah, you got to make the Will Levis. He's your centerpiece, so you want to go hire that head coach that kind of, it's the future, and we'll see what happens when they get in that new stadium eventually. And then, if Harbaugh's going to San Diego, that's electric. It's hard not to like that guy. Like I know everybody's like, oh, cheaters and cheat and all this. I get that, but it's really hard not to like that guy. Like he's just a very competitive winner, good energy guy. I just think he's one of those coaches, you kind of root for. So, but that's wild. That's some good sports stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. I do appreciate it, and again, anytime, I'll work on passing and sharing the episodes so you guys can get some more cooler than me people to come chat with you. But I'll definitely keep some of my players in mind and some other coaches.
Sure.
Because I think what you guys do is awesome. So just keep.
I think we want to get Gordon on here. I want to talk to a kid that hadn't played. That's one I want to hear. I do want to hear his story.
We can do that. I will set that up for you. I'll do that.
Awesome. Yeah, because we're about to go gung ho.
Awesome.
It's about to officially shift where I'm only talking baseball, and I'm beyond ready for it.
Yeah. And then we're not going to waste our time talking about any of the NBA stuff for very long. You just go right as well.
No, they'll get it.
Fair enough. Hey, I do have one last question for Chris. I wanted to ask. So, like, do you think Vandy men's basketball is going to score like 30 points against UP men's basketball, or like What are
Play the graphic, Cody. Play the graphic.
Got you. It's coming. It's coming. Where did I put her at?
Oh man. Oh,
He's ready
He's
for
got
it.
to go. He's got to go.
well, hey, I just
And
love
here's the best part. Shay Ralph is out here signing 5 stars to come to Vanderbilt. And she's making it very, very difficult for anyone to defend what's going on with Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'm grateful for passionate fans that, especially like in general, like the passion, it's what you want, you know? And I think Vanderbilt in general, you know, the big three baseball, it's its own thing, but you know, like just those big three sports, it's just really, really just such an important time for Vanderbilt athletics because it's hard to, you don't want them to get lost in this new world of transfer portal and all that, which I don't know. I have my own thoughts about it. I'm not really, I'm not crazy about it because I just think like if I was at a 4-year school right now, like a mid-major, like I would be recruiting kids, like even against whoever and being like, if you come here and you are committed while you're here, like our goal is to help you get to your dream school. So like I'm recruiting a kid to come to my 4-year to play at a mid-major that's really good and tell him like, look, like we'll do everything we can to give you the opportunity to go in the portal when the time is right to get to your dream school. Like that's the world we live in now. I think that's crazy, you know, because like I just think about like how much I love the idea of a kid going like 4 straight years and being at the same school.
It just don't happen anymore.
That's wild. But like that's there's just something to be said for that. And there's, you know, Vanderbilt baseball is a very good example of somewhere who you know, very, very limited you know, use of the portal. And, you know, I don't know if it's for me, like that's something I appreciate, but for some people be like, whoa, you want to commend them? Like, great. Like, but we're going to go get these dudes and win games or, you know, but I think the commendable part is they're not doing that. They're getting people continue like the way of getting people committed in their system. They're there, they're growing, they're competing, they're learning, they're staying there, and they're being successful. You know, so I feel like it's two sides. Vanderbilt baseball still got it going on, whereas people are knocking Clemson like, Dabo, this is the reason you guys aren't good anymore because you won't go in the portal and all. So it's just wild times we live in.
I actually tease Cody all the time because LSU actually got a pitcher from Vanderbilt that ended up being a cheerleader for LSU last year.
Hey, you let us. I'll take it.
Right on. Well, all right. Y'all be good. Good luck. And we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, man. That was an awesome interview. I like having Coach Hamsley on.
I love him. He's good. Great dude. And he's never a dull moment.
I'm ready to meet him in person. So that Gaston State series, it's like the weekend of my birthday. It's opening weekend for D1. And honestly, just looking at the schedule, my schedule is pretty free that weekend. My daughter's birthday is the 19th. Mine's the 17th. But I'm super excited to get to go see him. I mean, it's like an hour and a half away from my house. So I'll just get my dad. I'll probably meet up with him and go with him.
So I want to answer this question.
Sure.
I want you to cut off Coach Cam. I couldn't do it.
No.
He says Brian Callahan's a great hire. This question right here. Do you think Bill will go coach for his son in Tennessee?
That is so funny that is asked, considering holy crap, our views just shot up really fast. Like, whoa. Yeah, that is the question. Me and you were literally talking about that before we went live. So please.
Jock, let me be the one to tell you. I'm not sold on Brian Callahan. And I'll tell you why. Because I watched firsthand how Bill Callahan destroyed the Nebraska football program. Single-handedly tore Nebraska down. And then he came to the NFL, and he was trash with the Raiders. Yep. Bill Callahan's never been a successful head coach. I'm not sold on Brian Callahan being successful. He may do it. He may be better than his dad. But I'm not a Callahan fan right now. I'm gun shy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're ready. So okay. So we've had a lot of comments, and they've been Harbaugh. Let's talk Jim Harbaugh.
I got a graphic. Everybody, college football dogs and dogs media broke this story about Jim Harbaugh the week of the Rose Bowl. Let me show it to you.
Yes.
We were first. Yes. College football dogs was first.
They really were.
And
it was amazing that it was reported. And the way that it was reported was very professionally. And I will tell you this wasn't like a BS report just trying to get something out there either. No, this sources behind it, proven facts behind it. Like this was 100% organic discovery on dogs. And they beat everyone to the punch on this. And let me just tell you, look, so college football dogs is a brand. They're essentially brand new. This is the first season been covering anything. Okay. Let me just tell you, this is the topic right here. I feel like that is the make or break for a brand. When you release something like this, it's huge. And speak of the devil.
Speaking of which,
Mr. Hunter Dorsey.
Welcome to the show, the one that broke the story of Jim Harbaugh and Mr. Hunter Dvorsky himself.
Hello.
Yeah, so
talking about you being the first to report that.
I wasn't expecting to jump on this fast tonight. Do you guys hear me good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
Here's the crazy thing that's happening. So, we had our interview with Coach Hamsley to start the show, but we've gotten the most at one time viewers that we've ever had. And our comment section is nothing but Harbaugh, Chargers.
Yeah.
So, if there's a person that really knows this situation right now, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I guess what we'll do is because we reported this about 2 weeks ago. So again, look, and I'll be completely transparent. Like, what is in Jim Harbaugh's mind? Nobody knows. I don't care. Adam Schefter doesn't know. Nobody knows. So, obviously there's a chance where he may just say, no. But here's what I'll tell you, and here's what we know. And we're going to go by what we know. According to our sources, and again, people keep asking, like, who's your sources and everything. According to our sources, when he was out here, first off, he had hired his agent in the beginning of December. And that is when the communication started with the Chargers. He's been eyeing up this job for a long time. This is not something that that he miraculously thought about doing. And then the Rose Bowl happened, and it just things happen for a certain reason. And we were told that that's when the unofficial communications started, and potentially the start of the contract. Now, if you guys all know, there's a Rooney Rule, so the NFL has to do, you have to do certain hiring and things like that. Mm-hmm. So then on top of that, we have a friend in the real estate industry here in Los Angeles, and it was discovered that he had that, according to our sources, that he had authorized a real estate agent here in LA to begin to look at property near the new facility in El Segundo. If everybody wants to if you want to be more accurate on where he's looking at, it's not Beverly Hills, it's not Brentwood, it's Palos Verdes, which is the south of Los Angeles. It's south of the facility. That's where he'll probably be living. So that's what we know. That's what we knew, 2 weeks ago. And it was, based on the contract negotiations and things like that, it's looking good. Now, a lot of people say, well, why did he interview with the Falcons? Listen, it's all about leverage. And people are like, well, what do you mean leverage? Listen, he's trying to get the highest deal possible that he could possibly get, and
Mhm.
he's going to have all his options on the table. Now, here's what I'll tell you as well. On top of all this, we also found out tonight that Jim Harbaugh is on his way. He's actually in the air, according to our sources. And I can't confirm it, but he is on his way to LA. His wife is reportedly joining him now to Los Angeles. If that doesn't tell you how serious this is, then if you're a Charger fan, you should be really excited. I mean, if you're, and let me tell you, if you're a Michigan fan, you think Michigan fans would be upset, but Sharon Moore is a great football coach. I think Jim said it. Jim said it at the March for Life. It's time to hand the torch to the next person. That's pretty much what he said. Now, a lot of people ask, well, why is he taking his time, choosing to go here? There's a little bit recruiting things here are happening as well. He's dragging this out because it will prevent the kids from leaving Michigan. He's trying to secure the team at Michigan right now and keep them together so they can't transfer out. There's a whole game to this. Listen, he's a guy that really thinks. If you ever met him, both the Harbaugh brothers are guys that are they're very detailed people. They think a lot. They're smart. Mm-hmm. So, and look, this could end up being. I'll be completely honest with you, and then people will say I'm crazy for this. I think there's a better chance of him retiring outright than going back to Michigan. I really actually believe that. I believe he would. I do not believe that he is going back to Michigan at all. And the reason I say that is you see Lincoln Riley. He's traveling around. He's recruiting kids. You see, we tried to get an interview with Mike Norvell, and they said, "Hey, Mike Norvell can't interview right now. He's on the recruiting trail." What has Jim Harbaugh been doing the last 3 weeks after the national championship? He's been in LA. He's been in Atlanta. He's been at the Ravens game. He's not recruiting right now,
and he's not making it hidden either, and that's weird.
And he's not making it hidden. And he has unfinished business to do. And you guys know I'm a Pete Carroll fan for sure. And I started out my whole life not liking Jim Harbaugh, but you know what? The same entities that tried to take USC football down are trying to take Michigan football down now. There's nothing. Repeating a national championship is nice, but his job is complete as far as Jim Harbaugh's goals. Now it's to go back and try to win a national championship and become the second coach in the BCS era to win a national title and win a Super Bowl. And I think that he can do it. I hear the Harbaugh, the Chargers are going to be offering a lot of money. Reportedly the deal is going to go down now. I know some people said Adam Schefter said that Jim's not going to make that decision until later in the week. I really believe that it may not come out until later in the week, but the decision is going to be done within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Sure.
So, but again, one thing, if you guys don't know, because I know a lot of people are watching. So when Nick Saban was the head football coach at Alabama, one of the things that, I loved about Nick is, he would celebrate after the national championship game, but then he would go out and be on a plane and recruit, 24 hours
2 days later. Yep.
2 days later.
Yep.
Jim Harbaugh didn't do that. Jim Harbaugh has not recruited. I can tell you he's not been at anybody's house. He hasn't been recruiting. He's been enjoying his time, and I really believe that he will not be in Ann Arbor. I think this is the perfect environment. The Chargers have a beautiful facility in the area, and but yeah, credit to our college football dogs reporters. Again, we were only 8 months old, so of course, people. Well, sorry, I don't have listen, I'm not like Adam Schefter, and we have a professional, studio and everything here. But my dogs are here. But let me tell you, we work really hard. We've only been 8 months old. We may have only had 500 followers, and that's because you got to start somewhere. But we have over 70 staff here across the country. A lot of our guys are former beat writers for Sports Illustrated, USA Today Network. We've gotten access from colleges from all over the country. So we're a real deal. We're tracking our sources, and we're getting more information. But the next 24 to 48 hours, just be on alert. Keep on Twitter, and we'll when we get the information, we'll get it out to you. But other than that, really proud of all of our guys. They worked really, really hard on this. Just building relationships. That's all it's about. I mean, here's the thing, 2 weeks ago, actually, this is about 3 weeks ago, we were told, and I'll go ahead here and say this. We actually spoke, one of our reporters actually spoke to Cadillac Williams.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
One of our, they actually spoke. So I'm going to release our source now. So one of our reporters actually talked to Cadillac Williams on the phone, and Cadillac said, "Hey, I'm not coming back to Auburn." We put that out a week before ESPN and Pete Thamel put that out.
They said y'all were crazy.
They said we're crazy. You guys are trolls and everything. And Pete Thamel and ESPN put it out, and we didn't get credit for it. But we're not always going to be right on everything, just like how ESPN is. But I'm pretty confident in saying, based on the sources and based on the situation, things that we're hearing, like this deal is going to be done within the next 24 to 48 hours. And Jim Harbaugh should be the head football coach for the Los Angeles Chargers.
All right, here's a question.
And we
for
had
you.
another.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
It's been a second. Wow. So I just got to say, Chris, this is the most viewers we've ever had at one time.
I don't know what happened. Twitter's blown up.
We just need to tell George.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Listen,
I'm free to ask questions if people want to ask questions in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer the Charger fans who obviously any chance of I'm not. You know what? You should ask Dominic Ambrose, who's our NFL draft guy. He would probably know that question better. I'm not really familiar.
I actually think that makes a lot of sense because you got Herbert quarterback.
Yeah.
Who's a stud.
Yeah.
You got an early round draft pick. Move up and go get Harrison.
But the thing is, though, they need an offensive tackle more than anything.
So, Nico, the Charger situation was not – it's not a realistic thing. It was used as a leverage to get more money, maybe from Michigan or more money from the Chargers. And to be honest with you, it's probably the Falcons – it's more on the Falcons side trying to get Bill Belichick to buy in more. So to be honest with you with that. And listen, like I said, if you guys know who Jim Harbaugh is, he's a guy that thoroughly thinks things through. So he's going to go take those interviews. I can tell you he's been offered interviews at almost every single team. Nothing on the GM. So I don't know anything about the GM situation. I know that, it's obviously almost every GM that they have interviewed. I know they interviewed this lady today. I don't know who she is, to be honest with you, but every GM that they have interviewed has been connected to Jim Harbaugh in some way. Mm-hmm. So definitely
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, I didn't know there was Charger fans. I guess I certainly do now. My father my dad used to work in the NFL, and he told me that there is a fan base in San Diego, so and now in LA. But listen, if you're a Chargers fan, you should be really happy. And Jim is a guy that's going to dramatically change the franchise. And it's a guy I really relate. And again, you guys know I'm a Pete Carroll fan. This will be like a Pete Carroll Seahawks hire. Pete came in. I really believe that when they sign Harbaugh, I think it's going to be a head coaching position and also a VP position where he's going to have more control over every aspect of a lot of the things that franchises normally do. So Pete Carroll went into the Seahawks, a franchise that was dying, wasn't very good, had one Super Bowl appearance with a Holmgren, and Pete dramatically just changed the culture there and from every aspect. And I think that's what you're going to see with Harbaugh. That's what he did at Michigan. That's what he did with San Francisco. San Francisco was awful for many years, and got to the Super Bowl. I think this is a guy that's going to really change the Chargers narrative that, Chargers aren't relevant, but if there was any team in the NFL, and I will also say this because a lot of our sources have said this, if there's any team in the NFL that he would go back to, it's Chargers, 100%. So he loves California. Jim has spent 15 years in California. He was the quarterback coach for the Oakland Raiders. He was the head football coach at San Diego University down in San Diego for FCS school. He was at Stanford, and then he played football at the Chargers. He was in San Francisco. This is a guy that loves California. So exciting times in LA, guys.
So I did see a question about Jesse Minter possibly going with him. I will say this. I don't know if he will or if he won't, but if there is a young defensive coordinator ready to move up to the NFL as a defensive coordinator, he's that guy. If you remember, he used to be the defensive backs coach for the Baltimore Ravens when they had the number one secondary in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he's very ready to assume that role.
So I can't confirm. So some things in real estate, I can't, there's some privacy stuff. So it's not confirmed. But again, I can't stress to you guys the fact that, he's reportedly bringing family out. I can't confirm this, but I also heard that Jay Harbaugh was coming out with him. I do know that his wife, I believe his name is Sarah, as well, is going to be coming out. So, I mean, if you understand how these interviews things, wife doesn't usually come unless it's serious. So, and then question is about the second interview. He could possibly do that. Again, this is the guy that was with dual diligence, so I'm not going to rule that out. But
I expect him to fully go through with that second interview, just to be perfect. For who he is. I think
he is, it's the way he is. But I will also say I would not be surprised that Michigan has already it's probably already getting prepared for this. So and credit to Charlie Sinclair, Charlie Flake guy. I think he also reported on this that he deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing. I even saw he was in an article. So congratulations, Charlie, on all the reporting that you're doing as well. Again, the fan-sided San Diego Chargers fan-sided attacked us tonight for reporting the news, and he said that only the top dogs, the top reporters, are the ones that have connections. But the reality is these top dogs like Pete Thamel and Dan Wetzel, they're actually getting their news from the guys in the bottom. You know what I mean? That's where, and the guys at the bottom is who we are. And that's the difference between Pete Thamel and all those guys versus us. The guys at the bottom, they all work with us now. So, and look, we're looking to hire people as well with College Football Dogs. We're growing. We got an office here in LA. We've got a blog. We've got a team of writers. We have, everybody was laughing, thinking it's like one person running the Twitter. We have a whole staff. We have an HR and everything. It is big. We're trying to compete with Barstool Sports, and guess what? It's a long shot. We get it. We understand it, but we're really trying to make a name for ourselves, but do it the right and ethical way. And look, if we're wrong on this, and for whatever reason, here's what I'll tell you: if we're wrong on this, it's because Jim Harbaugh himself made a 360 turn, and without telling anybody. That's how strongly this is to be. I mean, if we're wrong, it's because he made an instant decision. Something dramatic had to have happened. It's not something that he's not using the Chargers to get to Michigan. They're not going to give it to him. They're not going to give him immunity from being fired. No one does that. So no, it's crazy, and no college is going to do that.
And I actually think Michigan learned a lesson from what happened with Tennessee and Jeremy Pruitt, where they had to fire a guy with cause. And I don't think they want to have to go through all that in the legal wrangling that when Jeremy Pruitt threatened to sue him. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the NCAA investigation. I would say if Harbaugh is trying to get immunity, it's obviously if you're not guilty, he's afraid of something, and I expect something's going to happen. But I think another thing that's probably being talked about is getting guaranteed that if something does come out, the Chargers aren't going to do anything to him. You know what I mean? And so I'm a big Jim Harbaugh fan. I'm a Harbaugh fan now. I actually really appreciate what he's does.
He's a good dude.
Contract. I think it's going to be. I think it'd be anywhere from like 4 to 6 year contract for sure.
Oh yeah.
Big one. I'm thinking over 90 million. Big one.
It has to be, yeah.
I think Colin Cowherd said today as well that he had sources too that were saying that the Chargers. So for Charger fans, this is good news. That the Chargers are willing to give the money for this. I think. And listen, if I can tell you this, if they aren't able to secure him, which he's going to get secured, can you imagine the outrage on the Chargers GM and their ownership?
Oh yeah.
I can't even imagine how awful it's going to be if that happens. But the good news is we at College Football Dogs, we're very confident in saying that, hey, Jim is going to be the next head football coach for the Chargers in the next 24 to 48 hours. Internally, it may not be announced, but the deal is going down. What's up? What are you laughing about?
I gotta play around a little bit. Colin made a comment here. I'm surprised I haven't brought Vandy into this Harbaugh conversation. Well, let me do that because the men's basketball coach at Michigan is no longer coaching because he had a heart attack. I got the perfect coach for him. Cody, play the graphic.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is.
We can send Stackhouse to Michigan to replace Juwan Howard.
Here go all our views. No, but again, we're gonna have more updates. We should have an update tomorrow afternoon. But now it's kind of weird because now it's, you're probably gonna hear something tomorrow. It's probably the completion of the interview. And so I expect we'll get some leaks probably tomorrow afternoon going into Wednesday.
I'm actually surprised we got leaks on the Titans tonight.
Yeah, the Titans are another, but I didn't believe Dan Quinn is probably going to Seattle. It's
that makes a lot of sense.
They want to kind of keep the Pete Carroll trend going. This is a guy that worked for Pete, and to completely be honest with you, I don't know why they fired Pete Carroll. And by the way, if the Chargers didn't go after Harbaugh, I'd go after Pete Carroll in a heartbeat. And then what I would do is I would hire Harbaugh and then get a guy like Jesse Minter and then have him get ready for the head coaching job or build a team around him. But I think it's been from what we've been told that this Harbaugh the Charger thing has been something that's been building up for not just the last couple of weeks, but for months. And by the way, credit to some of the Charger fans. The way this ownership is, it was very hard to even say for us to go out and predict like, oh well, Harbaugh is going to go to the LA. You guys have been disappointed for many, many years. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is actually a hard thing to actually predict that the Chargers will get Harbaugh. And, but all indications are right now that he's going to be signing as soon as, as early as tomorrow. So
yeah,
we'll keep you
updated. One thing people don't know about you is you have so much invested into College Football Dogs. You wouldn't just let this story leak through us. You're not a clickbait guy. You're not.
No. And that's one of the things that we built is we're not clickbait. And as soon as we got some information on it, I said, you know what, let's take it and run with it because It's important that we get that out, and we're working around the clock. And I think this goes back to why Dave Portnoy and some of these smaller blogs are more successful than, ESPN's laying off people. You saw Sports Illustrated's done. There's a reason for that. And here at College Football Dogs, we run very similar to Barstool Sports. We're unfiltered, and we're going to say what's on our mind, and we're not going to hold back, which is great, and that's what makes us unique. So if you're looking for something that's more like Barstool, but less betting, more sports, that's who we are. We're not Georgia fans. It literally, I used to work in politics, and my nickname was H Dog, and that's where it came from. We're not Georgia fans, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, we try to be as unbiased as possible. I mean, we have our favorite teams, but we don't show bias to that team in our reporting at all. And we're all over the country, so everybody on here, if you're following College Football Dogs on Twitter, you need to go ahead and do it now because I can go ahead and tell you the second.
Yeah, make sure you give us a follow. And by the way, Colin's going to kill me, but I want to go ahead and do this for my Charger fans. If Harbaugh, and he will, signs with the Chargers, okay, we're going to put out a post, and you have to reshare the post, and we'll select one of the people that reshares it, and you'll get tickets to the first game of the Chargers game next year at SoFi Stadium. So
that's awesome.
It'll be on College Football Dogs budget. We'll get you a free ticket. So maybe we'll do two. Maybe we'll do two. Let's see how we do. So so we'll put that out there as soon as that deal is closed, and make sure you follow us and then reshare it. So and then also go to www.collegefootballdogs.com for more information on that. We'll report it. And listen, if we get a report that, hey, he's heading back to Michigan, we aren't going to be afraid to put it out there. We'll explain it and everything like that. But I will say this, Charger fans, sleep good tonight. Sleep good tonight.
I love it. I love it.
So to answer,
give the Golden Boot a follow as well. Great.
Yes, I appreciate that.
They're part of our network as well.
For sure.
But to answer Mike Brazil's question earlier, were the Chargers ever serious about Harbaugh? I don't think they were. I think they've been all in on Bill Belichick.
Are you talking about the Falcons?
He was fired.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Oh, Falcons. Yeah, Falcons.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think they used Harbaugh as a technique, a way to leverage the deal. Is probably what is more respectably saying. I think Belichick is going to be the Falcons head coach. Again, you guys have to understand there's so many dynamics to this. They have to follow certain rules and things like this. Yes, we're bringing on new writers. If you want to join, email info@collegefootballdogs.com. A lot of our staff has gotten access to football programs like the University of Miami, Penn State. We've gotten access to USC, UCLA,
it's only Florida
State, Georgia Tech. So we're really excited going where we're heading. So let's talk draft and free agency. Sure. Bionic Superhero. We'll love to have you come on one of our shows and talk. So we're really excited.
Draft Dogs for that. I mean,
yeah, we're gonna have a podcast show called Draft Dogs that's coming out in a couple weeks. We got some new shows. We just hired a kid out of Penn State. He's his name is Colin. I forget his name, Brandon or something. He used to do the play-by-play for Penn State football, and he's going to have his own podcast show talking to Big Ten and other things as well. So, but no, is Harbaugh confirmed? I'm. That's not my job. That's the San Diego Chargers job. That's not my job. Hunter is not. Hunter is on Twitter, but I guess I'll just put that out there. I used to work for Donald Trump, so I'm not really on Twitter because I don't feel like getting harassed 24/7. But yes, I am on Twitter. I don't know what it is, Cody. You can tell me what it is, but I don't really use it that much. I'm more. You guys will see me on like one podcast show, and I'm usually kind of behind the scenes and kind of running things. So, they text me and said, "Hey, you should come on to the show and talk a little bit about Harbaugh, what you know." And it was literally laying on my couch, like chilling, and and I jumped on. But yeah, so Logan from Penn State, by the way.
Yeah, Logan Burr
from Penn State. He's going to be working for us as well. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to be on here for another like 2 minutes, and then I'll let you guys close out your show. But any questions there? You were for Trump, dude. Another time. Thank you, MAGA. The HR people are like probably texting me. Andrew's probably texting me. Please shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Yeah, shut your mouth.
That might be the first time politics were mentioned on this show. Actually,
probably.
But I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, you work for the freaking president of the United States.
Yes. Listen, regardless of the politics and the party, it was my greatest honor of contributing to President Trump's administration and his work that he did. So, and honestly, that's how me and Colin met. I was working for the Trump campaign, and Colin, our co-founder, was my intern and my assistant. He had been from Seattle, and he went to school at the University of Delaware, and we just became best friends. His father coaches FCS football, and my father worked in the NFL and did stuff, and we were best friends and we've been best friends since, and we've been best friends for almost over a decade now. So we decided to start this and say, hey, we saw when we were working for the GOP and the party, we saw everything that was wrong with the media, and it's not just the news; it's also sports media as well. And say, you know what? Let's start an outlet with guys that love football, that don't want to be part of the mainstream media, and let's join in on what we're doing here at College Football Dogs.
Yep. Man, well, Hunter, we sure appreciate you coming tonight.
And one thing about it is sports media today is changing. It's no longer in print. It's no longer the hour-long shows with superstars debating stuff. That's not what it is anymore. People are on the go all the time. They listen to podcasts. They pull up websites on their phone. They read articles on their phone. And that's what this is about. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here. My dream in high school was to work for Sports Illustrated, but that's not where life took me. And here I am. I'm doing what I wanted to do. I'm talking sports.
Yes. And by the way, if you're a Big 12 fan, we're also adding another show called the Big 12 Whip Around Podcast starting in February, only on the Dogs Media Network, with Mr. Dylan Vance, who is very, very famous here at the. It's a shame that we don't have his soundbite, but
Go Mountaineers!
Go Mountaineers! Yeah, he talks like this. He's from West Virginia. Yeah, he literally talks like that.
Beautiful a national anthem.
He does. He sings the national anthem. Does really good job. But yeah, so I guess tune in. And by the way, we'll have a show on Thursday. Our main podcast show, the College Football Dogs podcast show, which is going to be on Thursday. Is it 9 o'clock? Is it 9 or 8? Is it 8?
Yeah.
Is it
9?
It'll be 8. It'll be 8. It's gonna be at 8 o'clock on Thursday night. Here on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. It's me and Colin. We do a show every other week. We're going to give our next Harbaugh update probably on Thursday. Hopefully by that time he had already signed, and we can kind of talk about what's next for Michigan. What I'm thinking is probably what I predict is the news of him going to the Chargers and Sharon Moore being named the head coach is going to happen simultaneously. So I don't think it's going to be, him Harbaugh there. And I think this all is going to be worked out together. But yeah, so for those that are just watching in now, the reason why he's taking so long is I believe it's because there is a transfer deadline, and he wants to try to keep the team at Michigan. Because if he goes and announces that he's the head football coach, right, the whole team's jetting out, right? So, but if he waits, and they can't leave, so they can't enter the portal. So that's one of the reasons why I think that he's dragging it out, and he may drag it out to the rest of the week. But I believe the deal is going to be done in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Do they not get the 30-day window like everybody else?
No. Well, it started at the end of the national championship.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So and he also pushed, just so you guys also know, he also pushed I don't believe they do, Mark. What he also did is he pushed the start date for spring football out farther right now to give time for the new to transition, likely the new head football coach with his new staff and everything. But Jay Harbaugh is going to be going. Jay will be going with Jim. I expect Jesse Minter to possibly go. He may stay at Michigan, but again, as Chris said earlier, guy that worked in the NFL already. It's the NFL is changing, and I think there's a unique opportunity for the LA Chargers. They have the roster to win a Super Bowl. They just have been missing that piece, which is a head football coach that can that can be a front office guy and on the field type of guy. And Harbaugh is a commander, a marshal, just like the position of quarterback. He will be the quarterback basically for the Chargers in the front office and on the field. So I expect great things for the Chargers going forward with Harbaugh. Will he get punished? It's hard to say. Now, I mean, me and Chris have battled this all year. If we're going to go by precedent, what happened at USC was, Pete Carroll technically had no idea about Reggie Bush, but they still sanctioned him because it's called a lack of institutional control. You could say that what happened with Harbaugh, having a coach doing what he did, I would say that's a lack of institutional control, and that would be a level 1 violation. You could see my dog running behind me. That would be something that it would be punished, and it's very eerily similar to when Pete Carroll left USC. He literally left USC this time in 2011, and then in June they dropped the sanctions at USC. He got out of there before it happened. So I think that's what Harbaugh's planning, But by the way, can I just say something? Michigan fans, you don't need to be don't attack us for reporting the news. Like, I understand you're upset that your head football coach is possibly and going to be leaving, but that's not me. Don't attack me. I'm just reporting what we're hearing. I mean,
yeah.
So
he did the job at Michigan he set out to do, which is return them to prominence. And he did that.
And this is the perfect opportunity to hand it off to Sharon Moore. I think it was classic. Moore led Michigan to beat Ohio State by himself. He led them to beat Penn State by himself. He's ready to have the head coaching job. It's it's almost poetic on how the transition is going to happen. He's very deserving of it, and I think it'll be a great fit. But yeah, screw Michigan. But yeah, let me tell you, and Michigan fans are going to be so upset at their athletic director. I don't think I hear what Michigan is trying to do. What I really believe is Michigan probably leaked that story on purpose. I don't think even Harbaugh leaked it, and I think the whole thing was. I don't think you could bring all the money in the world. There's some things that are out of Harbaugh's control, and that's what the NCAA does. Michigan fans are more upset about their head coach leaving than Ohio State fans are about losing to Michigan. But he is being why would you want to go back to Michigan when you have, the threat of sanctions? I mean, if he does go back, he's going to be facing at least 6, 8, 9 game suspension. What report? No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I would love to see that.
No, there's nobody saying that. I totally doubt that. So, give me a source, and we'll go.
Let's see. Now you got me burning my Twitter.
Yeah, there's no link. I don't see anything. I think Mike is trying to mess with me here.
Bleacher Report.
I just saw 4 hours ago. Will Johnson, he's ESPN's prosecutor. See, I don't see anything. What are you talking about, Mike? No, there's no report that Jim Harbaugh, especially it wouldn't come out at 11 o'clock at night. So, but anyway, there's no report. So, discrediting report. Who put a discrediting report out?
Yeah, I'm hunting that one right now.
I don't see anybody saying that. The one dude that tweets for Michigan. Let's see. I don't see that either. Again.
I mean, I would love to see a big.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. I don't see anywhere. I listen. Anybody that's putting that out at 8:23 is not being completely honest. I don't see anything. I think Mr. Mike is trying to.
He's looking for it right now.
If it's some little guy that's saying that, I mean, it's not. But no one has tagged us, so I don't know who it is. Yeah, who the fuck cares? You fucking yeah. Sorry for the cuss words. Fuck care.
That one's approved. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't see anything. If it's a little tiny, like. There's people, just so you know, I'll give you a great example, Mike. We had a guy, so we put out the Cadillac Williams story probably like, 3 weeks ago? And somebody messaged us in the middle of the night and said, hey, I'm married to Cadillac's sister. He's not leaving Auburn. And then 3 days later, he's out of Auburn. So
that one was funny. That message.
And again, look, guys, if we're wrong, we're wrong. I'm just being told what's happening here, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. We'll come out and say, "Hey, we're wrong. We got this one wrong." But I would be utterly shocked that somebody had put out a statement about us. But Matt, if it's Connor Stallion's burner phone or something like that, of course, Michigan fans are gonna. Rich would just would Michigan be bringing Jesse Minter with him? I think so. I think that would be it'd be a good fit. I think Vandy Chris even said earlier that he was with the Ravens, right?
Yes. He was a defensive backs coach for the Ravens when they had the number one secondary in the NFL.
Uh-huh.
And his dad, Rick Minter. My God, the wealth of knowledge that he can bank off of him. I think it's the next logical move for Jesse Minter to move into the defensive coordinator role in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So, Mike, next time, make sure you have a source for that. So that way we could put he would be the OC. I like David Shaw.
Why not?
And I think David Shaw would maybe David Shaw goes to Tennessee, but here's what I'll say. David Shaw's son is a student, I believe, at UCLA.
Okay.
So back Kellen Moore.
Closer. Kellen Moore could. What is that?
We always play music near the end.
Oh, you're playing you're telling me to get off the air. Okay.
No. We always start playing it like that.
Okay, yeah. Yes. So, no, I think David Shaw would be a great fit because his son's already in here at UCLA, and it would be easy for him to live there and see his son play and everything. So,
speaking of David Shaw, how do you think this guy feels? He's been interviewed by the Chargers, by the Titans, and at least one other organization as their
Well, there's a rumor that David Shaw is actually interviewing for Jim Harbaugh
Yeah.
and getting information from Jim Harbaugh about what they're offering. So that way he's not traveling to like a million different places across the country. So
Makes sense.
I think that's probably what it is. I mean, they're very close friends. So I like the music, by the way. I think the music's pretty awesome. Yeah, it is. It is. And by the way, thank you for everybody tuning into the Golden Boot Show with Cody and Vandy Chris. They work really, really hard. So make sure you like, follow, share this broadcast with your family and friends. Follow Cody on the XGBP_Tiger King and Vandy Chris.
I thought you were going to say. Ready for it.
I mean, you guys must enjoy all these views. I mean,
Absolutely. It took
I was
us all.
blown away.
He was the first source to break the news. Well, we broke. So, by the way, something I didn't add to the Charger fans know this before we leave here. We broke the contract issue 3 days before ESPN.
Yep.
3 days before ESPN, we broke the contract that he wanted immunity from being fired. We broke that 3 days before ESPN, and they didn't even credit us. They didn't credit us. Wetzel is actually with Yahoo that actually says that he broke it. We did that 3 days, and we didn't get credit for it. So you could say, hey, we could end up being wrong about the Harbaugh thing, but guess what? We were right about we told you that he was going to go for the interview. We told you he was having contract issues. We told you he was looking at real estate. His wife is now coming out. We did our job, but at the end of the day, we don't know what Harbaugh. We're not in Harbaugh's head, but all indications are that he will be the next head football coach for the for the Los Angeles Chargers. I can see San Diego.
And the best part of it, Hunter, is we have receipts.
We have receipts. There you go. You heard it first. Don't forget.
Yep.
So, go ahead, Cody. Close it out, baby.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, we appreciate you hopping in with us tonight. Had a great interview with Coach Hamsley from Rome State. Enjoyed talking to Jim Harbaugh. Honestly, that was worth the time. So, That being said, everybody have a good night, and we'll see you on Thursday with the Dog Show.
See you guys. Fight on.